Hello and welcome to Cruel Crimes. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for joining us again, and if you're new here, welcome. Please like and subscribe to us as it really helps the channel grow. We are a new true crime channel and try to improve our content with each video. Thank you all for continuing to help support us. Let's get started. Shaye Groves is the subject of today's true crime story. Shaye Groves is a single mother of 27 from Lee Park in Hampshire, England. People who knew her described her as a woman with a difficult past, a nonconformist with an odd interest in true crime and serial killers. In social media photos as recently as 2019, Shaye appeared as a typical happy mother, doing all the regular motherly things, having fun outings and baking cakes with her daughter. However, her friends reported that she underwent a significant change beginning in 2020. Shaye would stay up late watching true crime documentaries and reading books about the criminal underworld. She even had mugs with serial killers' faces printed on them. Her outward appearance changed dramatically as well, with tattoos and piercings adorning her face, neck, and body. Shaye's eclectic tastes were on display in her collection of knives, Viking axes, and a Celtic dagger. She also had a coffin-shaped bookshelf in one room and framed pictures of infamous murderers such as Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, and Rose West on her bedroom wall. Despite being perceived as eccentric by those who knew her, Shaye remained a loving mother to her daughter. Her affection for her child was palpable in her social media posts. On Botley Drive, Shaye and her daughter shared a home with her close friend Lauren White, and Lauren's daughter also lived with them. Although true crime captivated Shaye, it was not her only obsession. She was also deeply interested in exploring and indulging in unconventional sexual preferences, and had a particular infatuation with a man named Frankie Fitzgerald. Her love for Frankie was intense and all-consuming, taking up a large portion of her thoughts and time. Frankie Fitzgerald, a 25-year-old Portsmouth resident, was the object of Shaye's obsessive devotion. He was a father to 2 young children. Friends and family described Frankie as genuinely kind and loving. He and Shaye had been dating on and off for 6 months and had their share of problems. They did, however, share a strong interest in kink. They both enjoyed bondage, domination, submission, masochism, and knife play in their role play. According to court records, Shaye gave Frankie written permission to wake her up through sexual intercourse from March 22 until further notice at one point. Prosecutors would later argue that Shaye's obsession with Frankie's performance in bed, combined with the dangerous dynamic of illicit drug and alcohol use, contributed to the horrific events of July 17, 2022. Frankie Fitzgerald was discovered dead in Shaye's bed in the early hours of Sunday, July 17, 2022. Shaye had brutally stabbed him, but instead of calling emergency services, she video called a friend named Vicky. Instead of panicking, Shaye was said to be giggling, as if she was enjoying the situation. Shaye pointed the camera at Frankie's dead body and said, "I've done him," according to Vicky. But what motivated her? And why was she laughing as she watched his body on video? During their video chat, Shaye told Vicky she had been looking through Frankie's phone and found he had messaged a 13-year-old girl on Facebook. As a result, she lost it. She reached for a dagger, which she kept under her pillow, slit his throat as he slept and stabbed him in his chest 17 times. Shaye then told Vicky she would clean up and bury him in the back garden. She ended the conversation by asking Vicky, "We're still friends, aren't we?" Vicky made the decision to notify authorities at that point. When the cops arrived, they noticed an extremely strong odor of bleach coming from the doorway. Shaye, dressed in her robe, answered the door a few moments later. When the officers first spoke to Shaye, she stated that she did not know what happened. Then she said, "He's dead. He's in my room. It's a mess. It really is a mess. I still took somebody's life. The knife I used is in the sink. The cut on his neck is pretty brutal. When I put it in his neck, he rolled over." A post-mortem examination revealed that Frankie had been stabbed 17 times in the anterior chest, twice in other areas of the chest, and 3 times in the neck. Shaye initially told officers that Frankie had tried to hurt her and that she had acted in self-defense. Police arrested Shaye and her friend Lauren shortly after discovering Frankie's body in connection with the murder. Lauren was initially charged with failing to provide investigators with her mobile phone's PIN code, but she was eventually released on bail. Shaye, on the other hand, was formally charged with murder. She was ordered to appear at Winchester Crown Court the next day. The case promised to be a complicated and harrowing journey through the criminal justice system, with many unanswered questions. The Shaye Groves trial began in early January 2023. During the trial, prosecutors presented evidence that revealed the extent of Shaye's depravity. The court heard, for example, that Shaye called Vicky hours after killing Frankie and showed her Frankie's body wrapped in a blanket. Witness testimony also revealed that she had fabricated an alibi by sending numerous messages to a friend and taking steps to clean up the crime scene. Shaye also had a camera set up in her bedroom, from which she would select and edit video clips to make it appear as if Frankie had abused her. Prosecutors, on the other hand, obtained the original footage that showed the couple's relations were consensual. Vicky also testified that Shaye had threatened her previous boyfriends with similar tactics. She gathers evidence against everyone in order to use it later as leverage. Vicky also discussed Shaye's history of violence, claiming that she once used nail clippers to injure a roommate. According to cell phone analysis, while Frankie's body lay in her bedroom, she sent messages to another man inviting him to her home. This was said to be a calculated attempt to create an alibi and divert attention away from herself. When questioned about her actions, Shaye attempted to justify her heinous crime by claiming she discovered Frankie messaging a 13-year-old girl. However, investigators discovered that the girl was in fact 17 years old. Prosecutors concluded that the evidence was clear. Shaye had committed cold-blooded murder and gone to great lengths to try to conceal her crime. Her actions were not only planned, but they also demonstrated a disturbing lack of empathy and regard for human life. Shaye claimed in court that her actions against Frankie were in self-defense. She claimed that after discovering messages between Frankie and what she thought was a 13-year-old girl, she threatened to post videos of his alleged assaults online, to which Frankie retaliated by choking and shoving her. She told the court that she couldn't breathe and her vision was becoming blurry, so she grabbed the nearest object and struck him in the throat. She also told the court that Frankie had developed a cocaine addiction and would frequently become aggressive when high. When questioned about her choice of room decorations, she said she thought they looked cool and wanted to shock people. The images are by an artist. They're not photos, they are art. I thought they looked pretty cool, and it's different. I'm also a huge Disney fan, but I wanted my bedroom to stand out and surprise people. Shaye also identified as a pagan, stating that the Celtic dagger she owned and used to stab Frankie was intended for her rituals, and that it strengthened spiritual connections. On February 17, 2023, Shaye Groves smiled as she was found guilty of murder. She showed no emotion at Winchester Crown Court 5 days later when she was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum term of 23 years. Frankie's friends and family stated, "Frankie was a caring father, brother, and son. He was the light of our lives, and we will miss his kindness, bright smile, and fun personality. Frankie had a large number of friends and family, and the news has devastated us all." Following the sentence, members of the press gathered outside the court to hear Detective Chief Inspector Rod Kenny's statement. "Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Rod Kenny and I'm Detective Chief Inspector with Hampshire Police and I'm here to read a brief statement after sentencing today. Shaye Groves was responsible for the shocking and sustained attack, which tragically resulted in Frankie's death. We're pleased with the jury's verdict. And the sentence will ensure that Groves spends a significant period of time in prison for what she has done. Nothing can fill the void that has been left in the lives of those who knew Frankie, and our thoughts remain with his family, friends and loved ones. I would like to praise their courage and hope that this sentence will in some way deliver the justice they deserve. The details disclosed in court were distressing for all to hear. And I'm immensely proud of the tireless work of the local investigation teams, detectives, specialist teams and our colleagues at the Crown Prosecution Service. Domestic abuse in all its forms will not be tolerated and remains a priority for Hampshire and the Isle of Wight Constabulary. I would urge anyone who may be a victim of these crimes to come forward and to tell the police. You will be listened to and supported. Thank you." Shaye Groves was transported from Winchester Crown Court in a prison van less than an hour after receiving her life sentence, to begin the next 23 years of her life behind bars. A close friend of Groves from childhood has spoken anonymously about the warning signs of Groves, who nicknamed her Chucky. She said, "We used to hang out. Shaye was quite strange. She was unique, the way she dressed, what she was into. She used to like Chucky dolls and was really interested in them. When she was younger she was different to what she is now, she was more girly. But, she was never like a girly girl and she always stood out from the crowd. We'd all be in bright colors and she'd be the one in dark clothes, even from a young age. She didn't wear what she wore now, she wasn't a goth, but she was always unique. She's always been a bit strange." According to the ex-friend, in recent years Groves didn't socialize much and spent more time with Lauren White and Vicky Batup, who reported her to the police after video calling her and showing her Mr. Fitzgerald's body. "She didn't go out very much, she used to stay in with Lauren and that Vicky Batup," she added. Speaking about Groves' friendship with White, she said, "Lauren would do whatever Shaye wanted her to do. She was very manipulative. Lauren didn't have many friends and Shaye used to be the one there for her." An interesting fact I came across whilst researching this case was that Shaye, who had glorified the serial killer Rose West among others by displaying their images on her bedroom wall, would experience a cruel irony when she was sent to prison by the same court that had previously sentenced Rose West. I'm sure you'll agree this is such a shockingly brutal and sad case. My thoughts go out to Frankie's family and friends. There isn't much information about this case online, so it's been a shorter video than usual, but I've done my best to bring you as many facts about it. So that's all for today's true crime story. If you watched until the end, thank you so much. Please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed today's video or any other on our channel. It doesn't cost anything, and it really helps the channel grow. Thank you, and until next time, goodbye.